Hi, my dear friends and my dear students. Welcome to our YouTube channel, Civil with Sudhir. So, today's in this class, we are discussing the RCC class 8, right? So, I will take the pen. Okay. So, today we are discussing the class 8 of the RCC. So, we will discuss these important topics, that is limit state method and working stress method difference, and partial safety factor method, partial safety factor. What is partial safety factor? And what do you mean by stress strain curve of the concrete? And another one topic, that is the what assumption in limit state method. So these four topics we will discuss in today's video. Let's begin. Before going to start this class, I am requesting all of you, please subscribe our channel Civil with Sudhir, and please like this video, as well as if you have any type of doubt, please comment me in the comment box so that I will reply for you all your doubt. Okay. So first topic, that is, in my previous class, if you want to watch my previous class, please click on the I button. You will get all the playlist, and I have made playlist for all of you in the name of RCC theory and design. You can visit there and you can watch the our all 7 classes of RCC. Okay, so today's class is, so in previous class we have discussed about what you mean by working stress method and what you mean by limit state method, right? So the difference we will discuss today's, what is the difference between both in simple points. In working stress method, it is purely based on what? First point, that is stress analysis was done. Here only they will take the stress analysis. But in the limit state method, what they will do? They will consider the strain analysis will be done. They will only consider the strain, right? Next, second point, in working stress method, working load is considered. Whatever be the direct load coming on the structure, they will take that load only. That is, a working load is considered. Here ultimate load means they will multiply with some factors, that is the safety factors, right? Here also you will multiply in working stress method, but here they will multiply with the partial safety factor. We will discuss that also in this class only. Okay, so that is very important point. That is an ultimate load they will consider, mean they will increase the load. Here whatever be the load, they will take directly here. And third point, total factor of safety is considered, right? Total means they will consider total safety factor means, so for the concrete they are taking factor of safety 3, right? Means they are taking extra safety, means they are calculating the factor of safety over, and the factor of safety for the steel in working stress method is 1.8. But here the important point, they are considering in partial safety factor, that is a partial factor of safety in limit state method. These 3 to 4 points are very important while comparing the working stress method and limit state method. They may ask you the objective question on the topic of here, this, right? This is important one. Please remember this one, because they may ask what is the working stress method factor of safety for concrete as well as for the steel, they may ask, right? For the limit state method, the concrete partial safety factor is 1.5 and the steel is 1.15. So these are the 4 points while differentiating between the working stress method and limit state method. If you have any type of doubt, please comment me in the comment box so that I will explain you in the comment box only. Next, yes, in previous class we have discussed there is an structural members, right? I will write here structural members. So what do you mean by structural members? The members, those carry the loads and distribute to the nearest structure or nearest member, that we call it as an structural member. That like beam, column, slab, footing, okay, retaining wall. These are all what? Structural members. So coming to here, so what do you mean by beam? First of all, understand beam is what? Beam is an horizontal member. Beam is an horizontal member and it is reinforced by placing the steel bars in the tensile zone, right? I will explain you in this here. You can see what is this? This is an neutral axis where stress, right? Where stress, strain both are zero. Both are equal to zero, where the neutral axis, right? If you draw like this in working stress method, I think in the previous class I have explained you. This is a strain diagram as well as a stress diagram you have seen, right? Right? So this is a strain and stress diagram. But here important point is this is neutral axis, right? This is the tension reinforcement. You can see this is the tension reinforcement, and this is compression. But in the definition, what they are telling, the placing the steel bars in the tensile zone of the concrete beam so that the compressive bending stress is carried by the concrete and tensile bending stress is carried by entirely by the steel reinforcing bars. Just simply I will explain you. 1 minute. I will erase this one so you can understand easily. Yes. See, this top portion, right, we call it as compression zone. This bottom portion we call it as a tension zone below the neutral axis. Here the stresses, right, when you add the load or when you apply the load, right, P, you have applied the load here, right? When you applied the load, this load will be carried by concrete, and here the stresses will carried by this steel. Okay, here the concrete, we are ignoring the concrete here and we are ignoring the steel here. The simple concept, they are just following in the beam reinforcement. You can see here also. Okay, this is the definition, simple definition of the beam. The next point is next topic is the partial safety factor, right? So in working stress method, right, first of all understand why we require the what partial any safety factors. Remember, if you are designing the structures for any environmental conditions, then you require some extreme loads as well as extreme factors. Because in environment sometimes the wind will appear very fast, sometimes earthquake may appear, right? Sometimes anything will happen with the environment, we can't predict. But so in order to avoid all these uncertain environmental conditions, they will increase the values, right? They will increase the values to safeguard our structure. So that's why we will take the what, the safety factors. Coming to here, the partial safety factor means structure should be designed with the loads obtained by multiplying the characteristics loads with the suitable factors of safety depending on the loads or combination and limit state being considered. They are telling, simply they are telling that, so characteristic load with suitable what safety factors they will multiply what for the limit state design. So these factors of safety for loads are termed as partial safety factors, that is gamma F. They will indicate, wait, I will change the color of the pen so that you can easily okay, now you can see the pen color is red. Okay, yes, the factor of safety for the load term as partial safety factor gamma F for the loads. Okay, so now you have understood about the partial safety factor, what is meant by safety factor and what is partial safety factor. That is a characteristic load with suitable what safety factors, or we can say safety factors, that we call it as an what, partial safety factor. Simple. Now the design loads are calculated, right? Design load is calculated on the basis of either it may be loads, either it may be materials, that is gamma F and gamma M, right? Two types of they will calculate the design loads, on the basis of loads or on the basis of the material. Now we will consider, so what is the values of partial safety factor for gamma F for the loads as per the IS 456. Okay, 1 minute. Okay, so load combination, so what is the what partial safety factor for the load according to IS 456 code? These are the load combination, and this is limit state of collapse and limit state of serviceability. In limit state method, I have already explained you, we have two type of limit state, that is the collapse and another one is serviceability. The name itself you can see, right? The name itself, collapse means they will consider for the design purpose. Serviceability means the durability, crack width, all those will be covered in the serviceability. Now coming to this tabular column, you can see there is in three combinations of the what load factors, right? So one is dead load, this one IL means imposed load, or we can say live load, right? IL, imposed load, imposed load or live load, right? Imposed load or live load, or wind load. WL means wind load. Now we have totally dead load, wind load, imposed load or live load, right? So now coming to the first combination, load combination, in the limit state of collapse, if you have dead load plus live load, you have to take 1.5 as a multiplying factor, and wind load, if you are taking wind load also, that you should take 1 multiplying factor. In the same load combination you are doing in the serviceability, dead load you have to take 1 and live load you have to take 1. Wind load will not occur, because you can see there is an important point here. There is an important point, because wind load and earthquake load should not consider simultaneously, means they both will not occur at the same time. That's why we are considering what, only wind load or earthquake load, any one will consider. Okay. Second one, dead load and wind load. If you are considering dead load and wind load, you have to take 1.5 or 0.9. When you have to take 1.5, when you have to take 0.9, there is one important point. 0.9 is considered when stability against overturning is critical. Okay, we will discuss this in design part. Don't worry about this one. Just remember these points, multiplying factors. That is very important now. So dead load versus wind load. So wind load you have to take 1.5. In the same way for the serviceability, you have to take dead load 1, no live load, wind load is 1. For the last combination, dead load, imposed load and wind load, for the total dead load, live load and wind load, you have to take 1.2, right? Dead load is 1 and live load 0.8 and wind load also 0.8. So what are the uses? Okay, these load combinations are very useful while designing any structures. Okay, while in design classes I will explain you where we have to use these combinations and what is the uses of these combinations. But here today's class we have to only understand what is the load combinations and what is the multiplying factors. Have you got the today's this partial safety factor? Okay. Next one, important point you can see at the bottom. So what do you mean by design load? So design load is, that is a characteristics load multiplied by the partial safety for the any type of the load. Okay, so what do you mean by characteristics load? In already previous class I have explained you, but then also I will tell you, the term characteristics load means the value of the load which has 95% probability of not being exceeded during the life of the structure. Very important, you have to remember. The what characteristic load means the load which 95% probability not being exceeded during that life of the structure. What do you mean by design load? Design load, just I have told you, right? The characteristics load into what? Sorry, characteristics load into the partial safety factor for the load, right? That we are I have given in the what in the definition format. Okay, have you got that? What do you mean by characteristics load and design load? Now I have told you in the in previous slide. Yes, design loads are classified on the loads and the material. We will discuss these two in detail now. So for the material strength, characteristic strength of the material means what? The value, right? The strength of the material below which not more than 5% test result are expected to fall. You have, I think you have remember this graph, right? This one, right? This is 50%, this is 50%, and we have done with the formula also. Fm is equal to FCK plus standard deviation 1.65 into standard deviation. So this one we have already studied in my previous class. If you want to watch, please click on the I button. You will get all the details about this sketch. Okay, please go through that video. So what do you mean by the material that is the characteristic strength is 5% of test results are expected to fall. Important point you have to remember. So concrete we will write as FCK for material, and steel we will write as FY. Okay, I think you know all of you know this one, but for your information just I have put it. Next one, for design strength, see, this is for the material strength, and for the design strength, second one is design strength of material is a ratio of characteristic strength of the material to partial safety factor. Okay, you can see the definition. What do you mean by design strength? That is the characteristic strength of material, that is F, or we can say FCK. Right, we can say this one you can take as FCK, characteristic strength of the material, divided by partial safety factor, whatever be the grade of the concrete they will give. Okay, whatever be the grade of concrete they will give, you can take that one, and you have to divide like this 1.5. You will get the design strength for that structure. Now code is saying, which code? IS 456, the clause 36.4.2.1. what code is saying? Code states that gamma m for both steel and concrete should be taken as what? 1.15 and 1.5. Okay, I will write here for steel, for concrete. For steel how much? 1.15. For concrete how much? 1.5. This is very important. They may ask. That is in limit state method, or when they give only partial safety factor. If they give partial safety factor, and the values you should remember the steel and the concrete. Okay, this clause is very important according to IS 456. Now one question arises. Steel, just I have told you, steel partial safety factor is 1.15 and concrete factor of safety is 1.5. Why? There is a question mark. Why the steel's factor of safety is very less and concrete is more? Because concrete is manufactured by the laborers or our humans, right? It is manufactured at the sites. It can vary. The strength will be vary due to the poor workmanship or good workmanship. The strength will definitely vary. But steels are manufactured in the plants with the accurate specifications, right, with the accurate method of manufacture, so that you can expect the good result as well as the strength. This is a very important difference between the partial safety factor of the steel and the concrete. I think you got the simple idea, right? Steel will manufactured in the plant and concrete will be manufactured in the construction site. So the strength may vary of the concrete compared to steel. Okay, have you got the clear difference or clear about the topic of for the materials strength, for the design strength? Very important for your any type of exams, either it may be KPSC or SSC JE. Okay, now the second one, the next topic, stress strain curve of the concrete. So what do you mean by stress strain curve of the concrete? Here we have already done with the stress strain curve of the mild steel. In the same way, we will study about the stress strain curve of the concrete. Okay, we will discuss here. I will draw so you can understand all the factors, how the all this diagram appears. Right. This is what? The stress. This is what? The strain. Right? You can see this is strain, this is stress. Okay. When you apply the load, the curve will goes like this. Sorry, 1 minute. I will erase this one. Like this. Okay. I think I have done correctly. Yes, okay. Now this is the what the curve of the concrete, the stress strain curve of the concrete after testing from the machines. Okay, you got this graph like this. You can see, okay, you can see there is a line, right? So, oh, sorry, this portion we call it as an parabolic portion, and this portion we call it as an linear one, right? This portion we call it as an what? Parabolic portion, this one, and this is the linear one. At the first you can see this is FCK, this is characteristics curve of the cube, right? This is cube strength. We denoted that one by FCK, means the cube size is, right, what is the cube size? 150 mm into 150 mm into, sorry, 150 mm is a size, that is the strength of that cube, right? We are considering here. But I will draw another curve here. I will tell you why I am drawing the second curve. I am okay, second curve. This is, consider this is first one and this is second curve, right? Why I have drawn this curve means what you have tested here, the cube strength. For example, if you got 25 Newton per millimeter square, same strength will not be achieved at the site as well as in the actual structure because of the size changes. Means the structure, actual size of the structure is very big, the size of this cube is very less, so we can't predict by testing only this cube. So that's why they will make some they will decrease the values. Okay, so that we call it as a characteristics curve of the structure. This is about the cube, this is about the characteristics curve of the what, the structure, that we call it as an 0.67 FCK. Another curve I will draw here. This is a third curve. But after, right, cube has been constructed. Okay, first step we have done with the cube and tested and you got the result. But actual structure is very big, so we have taken the 0.67. But for the design purpose, you can see for the design curve, right, what we'll do, we will again apply the what, the partial safety factor, that is a partial safety factor of the concrete is 1.5. We will divide how much, 0.67 divided by 1.5, right? We will get how much, 0.448, or we can say approximately 0.45 FCK. When you going to design the structure, you have to take this value, not this value or this value. Have you understood? This is very important point. You have to remember. First, this is first curve, this is second, and this is third one. Okay, this is the design curve we have to take while designing. 0.67 divided by 1.5. So 0.45 FCK. And another important point, this is about the what? This is about what we can say, this is about the stress. When you see there is an two differentiate, this is parabolic portion, this is what, linear portion. Here you can see 0.002. In this point the portion is changing from parabolic to what, linear. Okay, and here also 0.0035 is the ultimate strain. Okay, we will discuss that one also in this upcoming class only. Okay, this is very important, please remember this one, right? And 0.002 and 0.0035, we can say this is extreme strain at the extreme outer fiber of the concrete. We have to remember these values. Okay, partial safety factor for the steel. Now just we have completed this one, right? Now we will see the partial safety factor for the steel, that is Fy divided by 1.15, because this is Fy is the material strength and 1.15 is the partial safety factor. How much you got? 0.87 Fy. For concrete how much? FD is equal to, that is the design strength, FCK divided by 1.5, you got 0.67 FCK. What I have explained you here, right? What I have explained you here about the cube, about why we have to take 0.67 and why we have to take the design curve, that we have explained here. In case of concrete, characteristic strength is 150 cubes, but the concrete in the structure is different size. Okay, to take the size effect into account, it is assumed that concrete in the structure develop a strength of 0.67 into 1 by 1.5 times the characteristic strength of the cubes. I have explained you here only. Okay. Here these points are those only. Now, in calculation of strength employing the limit state of collapse, characteristic strength first multiply with the 0.67 and then divided by 1.5 to have the 0.446 as the maximum strength of the concrete in the stress block. Again, these point I have explained you here. This point they are explaining. This point they are explaining. Okay. So for the concrete, FCK divided by what? 1.5 into 0.67. Then you will got 0.446 FCK. This value should be used for the design purpose. Very important one. Okay. Now, so what are the limit state method assumptions? We will discuss what is the limit state method assumption in this class. We have done already. First one, plane section normal to the axis remain plane even after bending. Right? You have understood. If you take any pen or any book and if you twisted, the area of the total surface area will be changed, but the front area or the face of that structure will not be changed. Okay, that should be the first point in here. The strain distribution across the depth of the cross section is linear and stress diagram is partially parabolic and rectangular. Right? This one just we have studied this one. Linear and this is parabolic. Right? This is parabolic and this is linear. Exactly correct. We will get the results on that one only. So second point also you have already understood in our stress strain curve of the concrete. And this one, the strain distribution across the depth of the cross section means, for example, this is the depth of the, this is the cross section of the beam. When we draw the strain diagram, it will appear like this, right? So strain distribution across the depth of cross section is linear. Strain diagram is partially parabolic, like this. Okay. And third point, in limit state, the maximum strain in concrete occurs at outermost compression fiber. This point is very important in SSC JEE. Always, every year they may ask the question, this question. Okay, this one just I have told you. Yes, here you can see outermost compression fiber, that is a 0.0035. We can say that is an ultimate strain. Okay, so this point you have understood. Next one, the relationship between the stress strain distribution in concrete is assumed as parabolic. Maximum compressive stress is equal to how much? 0.446 FCK. Just I have explained you in a stress strain curve of the concrete. And this one also just I have explained you. The stress strain curve of the concrete is having parabolic shape up to 0.002 strain, right? Like this. Here this is 0.002 and here this is 0.0035. So fifth point they are telling that here the strain is 0.002 and the constant up to the limit state of 0.0035. However, IS code does not prevent using the other shape like rectangle and trapezoidal. This is the rectangular portion and this is the triangular portion. Remember this one also. And the next point is the tensile strength of the concrete is ignored. Always remember, we will always ignore the tensile strength of the concrete because Concrete is good in what? Compression, and it is very bad in tension. Concrete will not take any type of tension. That's why we will ignore that one. The tension will be taken by the steel only. The last point, maximum strain and tension reinforcement. This is a cross section of the beam. This is the neutral axis, right? And these are the bars, and this is a tension zone. This is compression zone. Now in the 7 point, they are telling maximum strain in tension reinforcement. Here in the section at failure should not be less than how much? 0.87 Fy divided by Es. Right, this is a formula. 0.87 divided by Es plus 0.002. Right, 002 means they are taking this value 0.002 or Fy divided by 1.15 Es. Right, Es is Young's modulus of the steel, that is 2 into 10 raised to power 5 Newton per mm square we can take, plus 0.002 is a seventh what? Limit state method assumption. Okay, so if you have any type of doubt, please comment me in the comment box so that I can make you the extra video if you want. And if you like this class, please comment, like and share. Please don't forget to join our Telegram channel, that is Civil with Sudhir, right? And we have already created Facebook page, that Facebook group in the name of KPSC AEJE Study Point. KPSC AEJE Study Point is a name of the group. You can join there. I am active on the Facebook as well as on the Telegram also. Okay, thank you my dear friends and my dear students. Thanks for watching our video. Please keep watching. We'll make more videos like this one. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.